I am.
I call to order the City Council meeting of December 11th, 2023. The time is 7 p.m.
All right. We can rise. Let us pray. Dear Lord, I pray for this council meeting tonight. Give us the wisdom and guidance as we deliberate on the items before us. May every decision be righteous in your sight for the community's benefit and for your glory. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ben, would you please call the roll?
Member Warren?
Here.
Member Stroya?
Here.
Member McLeister?
Here.
Oh, sorry.
Member Owen? Member Matheny?
Here.
Members Wyrick and Orr are absent, 5 present.
Motion to excuse members Orr and Wired.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I have a motion and a second to approve as presented minutes from November 13th, November 20th, November 27th, public hearing, November 27th, City Council, and November 2023 Finance Report?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so for everybody in attendance tonight, the new rules of council are in effect. So the first stage of public speaking is going to be legislative items only. And then following the regular agenda is going to be the open topic. So at this time, members of the public who have signed up to speak will be called to do so. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes. Speakers shall be called in the order that they signed up. During this section, comments shall be limited to legislative items appearing on tonight's agenda. The rules for speaking and the speaker's time will appear on both screens. After you finish speaking, please remain at the podium for the people at the dais to ask any questions. And this will serve as the only warning for tonight. Any violation of the rules will result in ejection from the premises. So first person to sign up was Jim Tedrick. So, Jim, if you could come to the... Yep.
Thank you. I recently emailed council members here in regards to my opposition about getting...
Point of order. Name and address first. Start with your name and address. Please.
Name and address, Jim Tedrick, 309 Rose Lane Street, Southwest.
That's all.
Proceed. All right. As I say, as I think a lot of you know, emailed you this past week about my opposition to getting tax abatements to the project across the street from City Hall, and several of you responded to me. I appreciate that. Very nice of you. I'd like to continue on that topic a little bit here. I have a photograph of some plumbing fittings that were in sinks in the warehouse, what was used to be the warehouse part of some of the Hoover's operations there. I was employed there for a while and intimately familiar with the building. These were plumbing fittings that were only installed for about 10 years there, and got very clogged up with calcium and so forth. This building that we were in, like I say, was a warehouse part, converted to offices. Did not lend itself very well to that. I mean, you can partition it, put carpet in that. It was still a warehouse. I mean, the acoustics were terrible. It was terrible to heat and cool it. Just lots and lots of problems. One comes to mind that because it was built as a warehouse, it didn't have plumbing going out of it if you wanted to have like a little kitchen there. So they had to resort to putting a pump for the drain water in a sink and pumping it up and way over. And then when the pump didn't work, you had quite a mess in there, But the point I guess I'm making is, these projects sometimes are not very worthwhile getting involved with converting something over that wasn't intended for that purpose. And I think, the developers over there are trying to get us, the city involved in that and get us involved in a building that I think is close to 100 years old over there. I think it's very interesting that, we've asked taxpayers in North Canton to tear down schools that were built for the purpose of being schools that are 50, 40, 30 years old because, it's not worth, renovating them. The costs are too high in that. But, these developers over here want to kind of drag, the taxpayers into this, doing something with this 100-year-old factory building over there that wasn't built for the purposes that they want to subject it to. I mean, it was built for just housing manufacturing operations there. So if this was a really good idea, I think other investors out there would be jumping on board, to put their money into it and not coming to the city, to try to get them involved. And I think the second point I have here is that, our tax system is largely built on collecting property tax here. And I think it's a little bit of an accounting voodoo that, this giving them tax abatements where they don't have to pay on what's going to be the value of their property there is not going to have some negative impacts to some people. And I'm afraid the negative impacts is going to be largely on the smaller wage earner citizens in North Canton. So again, like I say, I guess to kind of build on the email that I sent you folks, I would like the city to kind of take another look at this and reconsider it. I kind of think you're on the threshold of maybe making a mistake here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Jen? Okay, next up we have Dave Butler.
My name is David Butler. I live at 110 6th Street, East Canton. What I'm up here about is you want to pass an ordinance 2-2024 stating that you're not allowed to issue permits to anybody who has zoning violations. Currently, I have 19 violations, and I have been trying to meet the zoning violations, and there's no way possible I can get them all corrected in the time period that you have. They're up for appeal right now, but even with the extra time that I have till the appeals, there's no chance of getting them taken care of. But I need to get my greenhouses set up. And one of the zoning violations is a greenhouse, which I move back and forth between the flowers and the firewood business, which has been deemed as illegal. And I need to get the permits to set that greenhouse back up in a timely order so that I may continue my flower business in the springtime. If they do not give me that permit, I can't put the greenhouse up. Therefore, you guys are going to render my business totally worthless. I have been trying to get the zoning violations corrected. There's no way possible. 30 years ago, I had got the firewood and the shrubs and plants, the Christmas trees, antiques, patio furniture. They were all approved by your, not the zoning commission, but the planning board, I think is what it was. And they okayed all that. Now it's illegal. And as a result, I can't move the one greenhouse that I'm using currently for firewood sales. I can't move that back to the flowers, proper permits. They are dragging their feet. They're not going to give them to me, and they are going to ruin my business. So, and that greenhouse that I'm talking about has been moved 25 times in the past last 25 years. I will set it up in the springtime for the flowers. I use it for 3 months for the flowers, and then I move it over to the firewood. I store firewood and dry it for 6 months, and then I move it back again. So I move back and forth. Basically, when it's a greenhouse, it was permitted. I have all the necessary permits for it. And I thought I had the permits to move it back to the firewood, which technically is just a cover. And then we sell the firewood out of that, we dry it properly, then we sell the firewood out of it, and then we move it back to the greenhouse. So by you making the zoning, if you have any zoning violation whatsoever, then I cannot get a permit to do my work that is necessary, you guys are gonna effectively put me out of business, and I don't appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Mr. Beller?
If you had more time, do you feel like you could remedy these situations?
Well, some of them I can't. The firewood, they have made the processing of firewood illegal, and I don't know really what they mean by processing. But, I've been doing that for, the firewood business has been there. This is gonna be our 39th year of the firewood business. To my best of my knowledge, have never received any kind of a complaint. There is a certain amount of noise with it. And then there are the greenhouses or the covers, technically, for the firewood. They're covers, they're in a hopper with a cover over top to keep the firewood dry. And that's what I'm having the greenhouse right now that is in question, the one I need to look back and forth. I have been trying to get with Mr. Van Gundy to get permits for it, and I don't think he's gonna issue it. And then with this zoning, he'll have a good excuse not to.
Any other comments or questions for Mr. Beller? No. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the two speakers for the agenda only. Okay, moving on to new business. At this time, the floor is open to nominations for Civil Service Commission. Council must make one appointment for a term of 6 years. Nominees must be electors of the city. So are there any nominations?
So I would like to nominate Kenneth McAdams.
And they don't have to be here for this. Okay. Okay, are there any additional nominations? Okay. Seeing none, the floor is closed. So now, do we just want to do a roll call ballot on?
So you can, since there's only one nomination, you can do, is there a motion and second to appoint Ken McAdams to the Civil Service Commission, and then we'll do a roll call on that motion.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Want to do roll call now? Roll call vote?
Member Warren?
Yes.
Member Short?
Yes.
Member McLeister?
Yes.
Member Owen?
Yes.
Member Matheny?
Yes.
5 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay. So Ken McAdams is the Civil Service representative. Civil Service Commission rep. Okay. All right. Ben, would you please read the title of ordinance 69-2023?
An ordinance amending the zoning map of the city of North Canton to reclassify 5 parcels in the city of North Canton in accordance with the amendment procedure set forth in chapter 1182 of the Planning and Zoning Code from their existing classifications to residential single-family large lot.
Okay, so this is my committee here. So this we had amended it to keep the residential change in, but omit the rest Nothing else is new from this. Any questions, any comments?
No, makes sense.
I will move that we adopt the first reading.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And then would you please read the title of ordinance 01-2024?
An ordinance amending chapter 703, registration of rental units, specifically subsection 703.05E of the codified ordinances of the city of North Canton to amend regulations on inspections of rental units in the event of a change in tenant and declaring the same to be an emergency.
I need to recuse myself from this one.
Forget about it. This legislation is adopting for those large apartment complexes and adjusting for the fact that when there's a change of a tenant, that the owner of the property can then make a recommendation or a request to have an inspection, but it's no longer required that they do those inspections. If they do choose to do so, there won't even be a charge for it if it passes through on the first visit. Mr. Diorio, anything to add?
Yes, sir, well said.
Okay. Make a motion that we pass, postpone.
We don't have 6 votes and it has an emergency clause.
Oh,
So because there's only 5 of you here,
I
we'll
see.
need to postpone it.
Thank you, Ben. So I'll make a motion that we postpone ordinance 01-2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Shortcut.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Sorry, just dropped my packet. Okay, then would you please read the title of ordinance 2-2024?
An ordinance amending chapter 1302 permits, specifically section 1302.04, conditions for the issuance of permits of the codified ordinances of the city of North Canton in order to establish additional restrictions on the issuance of permits.
Okay, so John is out. Melissa, if you want to head the discussion for this, and we'll all join in.
Sure. So this one we talked about in our committee meeting. Yes, okay. I wanted to make sure I was talking about the right thing.
Oh, that's okay.
Talked about it in our committee meeting. It made a couple of changes just to be in the spirit of what we're trying to do. To make sure that property or projects on properties are up to code and that there's fair interactions with, am I talking about the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
Fair interactions with the, with contractors when they're being used for projects in the city.
Patrick, or Ben, you guys want to make any further comments about this? Nothing's new here.
No?
I'll make a motion that we adopt it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Moving on, Ben, would you please read the title of ordinance 3-2024?
An ordinance to enter into an LPA project agreement with ODOT, accepting a grant for 80% of the project costs up to $1,130,000 in fiscal year 2025 to resurface Main Street between 50th Street and Knoll Street and Rose Lane Street north to 7th Street and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Before we go into that, Ben, is there a network issue going
Does it say
on?
network error?
Because I can't, none of our.
You know what, I had that earlier,
Yeah.
and I logged out of Granicus and logged back in.
Okay,
So
let me
just
try that,
force
because
shut
all
it.
of our notes are on this, and
Yeah.
we can't access it. Yeah, beauty of technology. Go on, sorry.
That will solve it for me though.
That's okay. Go ahead.
You were on the next one, the
Yeah.
LPA project agreement.
Yeah.
So I had a chance to meet a bunch of folks on my little tour of City Hall that the mayor was so gracious to give me the other day, and it was cool to hear about these projects from the people that are more connected to doing them. I know Rob's very proud of all the money that he is able to help us connect with that's out there, and so this was one of those projects where we were able to get 80% of the cost of that work covered, and we were only responsible for 20% of that work. And this one is on Main Street between 50th and Knoll, and it would be in 2025.
Nothing new, just very standard. I'll make a motion we adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
We need to postpone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'll make a motion to postpone.
I will second the motion to postpone.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read the title of ordinance 4-2024?
An ordinance to enter into an LPA project agreement with ODOT accepting a grant for 80% of the project costs up to $747,500 in fiscal year 2027 to resurface Apple Grove Street Northwest between Pittsburgh Avenue at the corporation limit to North Main Street and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Okay, Melissa again, busy night.
Yeah. So this is a similar situation, same type of agreement for different projects. This one is in, like Ben said, 2027, and that's the same situation where 80% of that cost is covered.
Good job, Rob.
Yep. Sure.
Motion to postpone ordinance 04-2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read the title of ordinance 5-2024?
An ordinance accepting the annexation of 3 parcels owned by Walsh University and described as follows. Located at 1903 Filzer Street Northwest, North Canton, Ohio 44720, containing 0.45 acres and being further identified as parcel number 5280443, and 1915 Filzer Street Northwest, North Canton, Ohio 44720, containing 0.45 acres and being further identified as parcel number 5209461, and 1939 Filzer Street Northwest, North Canton, Ohio 44720, containing 0.354 acres and being further identified as parcel number 5207611, totaling approximately 1.25 acres of land, being part of the northeast quarter of section 16, township 11, North Plain Township, Range 8, West, Stark County, Ohio, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Ben, I missed part of that. Can you reread that? Just kidding. All right, this is the Walsh annexation. Nothing's changed here. We were at that window of time where we need to start to pass the readings of this, but very standard. Neat. Yeah. I'm gonna make a motion to postpone this.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ben, would you please read the title of ordinance 6-2024?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Administration of the City of North Canton to file a petition for annexation of territory owned wholly by the City of North Canton, Stark County, Ohio, and adjacent to the City of North Canton as permitted under Ohio Revised Code, Section 709.16, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Okay, again, we discussed this in the previous meeting. This is the Jackson shared agreement here. This is the first step in going to the annexation process. Any comments, questions? I'm going to move that we postpone.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then would you please read the title of ordinance 7-2024?
An ordinance authorizing the acceptance and conveyance of certain parcels of real property in the City of North Canton, Ohio, in connection with a tax increment financing program in order to facilitate the redevelopment of certain real property located at 101 East Maple Street and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Okay, so this is the TIF for the West Factory, and this is the land portion of it, as discussed previously. Any comments, questions, discussion? I will move that we postpone this as well.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. And vendors, please read the title of ordinance 8-2024.
An ordinance declaring improvements to real property within the city to be a public purpose, declaring such property to be exempt from real property taxation, requiring the owners of the real property to make service payments in lieu of taxes, establishing an urban redevelopment tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of service payments, and authorizing the Director of Administration to enter into a tax increment financing service agreement and a development agreement with the property owner.
Okay, and this is the TIF agreement, as discussed previously. Any comments, questions, discussion?
I think just to make a note that as this agreement goes through, that it's the incremental property taxes. It's not what's currently being paid. It's what is done if the developers actually improve the facility.
Mhm.
And it's got to be noticeable by the auditor in order to increase those taxes. And then their payments will then roll back into the project. But it's not what they're currently paying or what's out there.
Correct.
Yep.
So
Just
if they
wanted
do
to clarify that.
nothing,
They get nothing.
if they do nothing, it's the same taxes they're paying now as if they do something. But the difference is, we'll get benefit of having businesses that will be in there, in theory, or potentially residents if they live in North Canton. The other thing that I think is worth noting is that this has been unanimously approved by the North Canton City School Board. They're getting, correct me if I'm wrong, $2.4 million, 2.5, as well as 10.7 acres of land. So I mean, the schools are benefiting greatly from this as well.
Good points.
Anything you'd like to add, Mr. DiOrio? We good?
Just to reiterate that if the project isn't done, they get no benefit. If the project is done, the project has to be done pursuant to terms and conditions that we impose. If they fail to agree to the terms and conditions, there'll be no. I'm still in discussions with them. I'm open. I know for sure I will have the documents to you before you make a final vote, so that you can analyze them, see what you've worked on to get agreement. But if they fail to agree, I won't bring you anything, and then it just won't happen. In regards to the condition of the building, we're well aware of that. Been through that building many times in recent years. We have very serious concerns with the building, and we're addressing that through the terms and conditions. And we would expect that as the project is completed, it will be subjected to ongoing terms and conditions relating to property maintenance and building codes throughout the duration of the TIF agreement, and would be bindable on any successor vendors. Failure to comply would result in termination of the TIF.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Any other discussion, comments? I'm going to move to postpone.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so now we'll have the second part. This will be the open topic for the people who had signed up. At this time, members of the public who have signed up to address City Council will be called to do so. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes. Speakers shall be called in the order that they signed up. During this section, comments shall be limited to items reasonably under the city's authority, open time. The rules for speaking and speaker's time will appear on the screens. After you finish speaking, please remain at the podium to answer any questions from officials of the dais. Please approach. Let's see. The first one is Joe Malkin.
Joseph Carl Mulqueen, 1016 Park Avenue, Northeast, North Canton, Ohio, 44720. To the common welfare of North Canton, I'm not here to have a fireside chat. I'm here to talk about the elephant in the room. That is the increase of the 0.5% of the income tax that I am undecided on whether I'm going to vote for or against. And I'm here today to talk about things that are going to affect us now, children later, your grandchildren much later. And some of the things that will be going through my head as I decide whether I want to vote for or against this tax increase is that tax increases don't stop those who want to evade from their taxes, sadly. I'm a firm believer you can't tax your way into prosperity, but you can donate your way, as I am aware of the ongoing issue of the women of the fire, police, and EMT not having enough room to change in. I'm a firm believer that the taxpayer should not bail out the problems that, should have been built equally just as big. And I'm a firm believer that we, the people of North Canton, can have some sort of fundraiser dinner and get the cost of these projects taken care of without the taxpayer having to bail out. Problem with that. And one of the many growing problems is that taxpayers do the things they're supposed to. I've experienced that with the road issue that finally got fixed. Thanks to my knowledge of how our democracy works, I'm grateful for Congresswoman Sykes, Senator Kirk Sherman, and House Representative Scott Slinger's office diligently picking up their thumbs as we fix this problem. Also, tax increase will not fix the fraudulent financial system. Those who work in North Canton are making more and have higher utility costs, so to think that the taxpayer can be the financer of the problems of the city doesn't make too much sense if those who work in North Canton, like me, aren't making more, as we have never seen an increase in utility costs like we have seen in the past 3 years. Honestly, I think we should wait and see what kind of job development the new shopping plaza is gonna bring, but I don't think it will do much. And one of my many concerns is Meyer is gonna put the local 880 union, I believe, that is across the street with Acme, that I believe that Richards was also a part of. I believe that union might be busting. And people will have a hard time maintaining the property tax that's increased on income tax. And as I study one of my favorite World War II veteran senators and former presidents, JFK once donated his presidential pay. I think elected officials should take pay cuts before increasing taxes. And there's nothing stopping Belden Village from being the premier shopping location of Stark County. And if Belden Village is having a hard time finding people to shop, it truly means no one is making more money, and we need to figure out how we get more money in the individual's pockets before thinking this new shopping area and the new income tax is going to be the financer of the problems of the city. And at the end of the day, the taxpayer cannot afford the burdens outside their own. But I am grateful that this topic has arisen in this town. I believe we, the people, will figure out a bipartisan solution on the problems facing our city, from not having enough changing areas for the women, the police, fire, and the EMT, to maintaining our highly credited snow removal services and all the other services that, each time I leave North Canton, I love it more and more each time I come back. And I'm a firm believer that, society, local, state, and federal point cannot tax its way into prosperity, but we can donate our way into prosperity. One last thing is, I almost forgot, so I bring it back up on the phone, is We cannot escape the danger or the fear of danger by crawling into bed and pulling the covers over our heads. So I look forward to each person in this town doing their due diligence on figuring out.
Joseph. Any questions or comments for Joseph? Thank you. Next up, we have Sue. Joseph.
Sue Meadows.
Sue Meadows.
I've heard my name.
Yeah. Your turn.
I don't know if I signed up for the pool, if I signed up for the.
It says Hoover and Dogwood.
Point of order, name and address.
Susan Meadows, 232 6th Street, Northeast, North Canton, 44720. When I first started coming to the city council more and more often, it was for the pool. And now we have the situation with the Hoover Company, and I'm pretty excited about it. I hope it goes the way Mr. Martin and the other guys said it would be. I hope things turn out. I was kind of impressed that we had the superintendent of schools and the money man from, I didn't get his name, so I don't know. I saw them coming in, but it didn't ring any bells with who he was. So to know that the school is involved in it with money and taxes, gives me hope that it will come about. It won't just be a fantasy. And on the pool, I still would like to try to find funding somehow. Maybe the Timken Company or someone would donate enough money to fix the liner, put their name on the building, do whatever it takes. If someone knows anybody in the Canton Company that can speak to them, that would be wonderful. There was just a little blurb in today's paper about not the present Mrs. Timken, but a past Mrs. Timken that had got involved in things in town. So maybe we could get them interested. Maybe we could get the Suarez Corporation interested. There's other businesses, big ones in the industrial park. Maybe they would be interested. Their children go there. I've gone around with petitions to the neighbors. People that don't go to the pool said they're more than glad to sign it because they want to keep the pool there. I talked to people there at the pool that come from Akron. They come from Cleveland. They have been up to visit the Hartville pool, which is nothing, and compared to the gem that we have. So I will keep fighting. I will keep talking. I will keep going around. When the weather gets better, I will be back doing petitions and hopefully can make some headway on that. I don't know where the liner is. I go over by there, all you see is white paint in the pool, so have any idea where the liner is or what it's supposed to be, or how you could put it somewhere else during the winter time. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be there unless it's laying in the bottom of the pool, which would not be very good. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Real quick, I would like to add something. I remember you'd shown me a picture of something, boy, what was this, maybe a couple months ago, what you thought was the liner. The white that you're seeing is the liner. It's physically impossible to remove that liner. You can't just
So that is the
you
liner.
can't just fold it up and put it away for the winter. So that is the liner that's in the pool.
Okay, because and when you're in the pool, it's blue. So.
It's water, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I saw the white paint and everything with the black stripes, and I thought, well, that possibly is it, or they painted over to protect it for the winter time, one or the other.
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any comments, questions? Duke Cecil? Oh, there we go.
Duke Cecil, 155 North Main Street, North Canton, Ohio. I'm here tonight speaking about the ordinance that would not allow you to issue a permit to a company with a zoning violation. And what I have to say about that is, let's say this company gets a zoning violation, and in order to fix that zoning violation, they need to pull a permit. How would they then pull that permit? You won't issue it because they have a zoning violation. So is this new law just every small business that gets a zoning violation, just go ahead and pack up your doors right away and leave? Is that what you're telling them? Another thing that I find really egregious is that everything suddenly becomes an emergency. You put it out there on an agenda, people have 1 day to see it, or 2 days to see it, and then you push it straight through. You'd have pushed a number of things through tonight without people ever having a chance to see it, if you had a quorum here tonight. I find that very egregious, and quite honestly corrupt. That's all I got.
Real quick. Have you ever been to the city's website?
I have, yeah. I was there just today.
Okay. The agendas are posted there how far in advance, Ben?
Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon. So
2 days.
So no corruption here. We meet all required laws as far as having agendas posted beforehand. So.
So I'll say too, that you said, if you needed a permit to fix the code violation, that's specifically spelled out in the ordinance that we do have. It says, unless the permit being applied for seeks to remedy violations listed in the code enforcement action. And I can tell you, I wouldn't vote for anything otherwise. There was some other stuff in here that didn't feel right to me based on what people should be allowed to do on their property. And it's a fine line between maintaining property that meet all of the code specifications and allowing people to do things on their property, and you want to find that balance. But we would not put language in here that would say, we can't give you a permit if you need a permit to fix the problem that's going on. That just
But you're still at the right to deny a permit on any basis, including that there's a zoning violation. So if you so chose, you could deny a permit based on those zoning violations and choose to run any business.
Spelled out right here, as Melissa identified, that if it's a permit to rectify a problem, you would get it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
Have you been told differently? Do you feel like?
I didn't really get a chance to read it. I was at work all day. I saw that there was the proposal, and I didn't get a chance to really dig into it that deeply. But it definitely seems off to me still.
If you find an example, just
Wait, hold on.
bring it to our attention and we'll look at it.
Didn't get a chance to read it, but yet we're being called corrupt.
I find it very much like corruption that you put a bunch of things out on Friday afternoon and you deem them an emergency. So if you had the proper number of people here, you would have pushed it through tonight without citizens ever having a chance, other than tonight.
That's not true, because they come from an agenda, so they come from a previous meeting, so that's completely false. You have a committee, the committee refers to the regular council meeting.
So all these things that were deemed an emergency, when did they come up?
Talked about
Before
last
Friday.
week.
Talked about last week.
Previous, the committee of the whole meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I stand corrected on that one.
Okay.
appreciate you saying that.
Yep.
But he is correct in the fact that he would have the one time because of the emergency. And we have talked about that, and we don't love when everything's on.
Yeah.
But this did not show up overnight.
No, it showed up on Friday.
And
It showed up
yeah.
last week.
The reason why you see emergencies is because when we pass a reading, then we have to wait 30 days for it to be enacted.
Mhm.
So the emergency clause waives that 30 days. Oftentimes we'll pass on the third reading, something in the emergency.
Right, but that gives people 3 weeks to come and speak up against their opposition.
Right. Yeah.
May I say something on that?
No.
No.
Say anything, really, they kick out?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Moving on to department reports. Director of Administration. Mayor.
Sure, I'd like to say, share a few things. We had some celebrations here on the holidays over the weekend, and I want to thank had the opportunity to attend the Christmas celebration of Lessons and Carols performed by the Walsh University Chorale under the direction of Dr. G. Britt Cooper. He's in his 18th year there. And we had several North Canton students participating as Walsh students in the chorale. That was well attended over 2 nights on the 8th and 9th. And again, a welcome presentation to our community. Also on Sunday, I had the opportunity to attend another musical, okay? It was called The Chorus for a Cause. And that was a holiday concert, and that was hosted at Faith United Methodist Church over on 9th Street. About 500 people attended that, with several of our city residents in the choir. And they have a reputation of the money that they raise goes to good causes here, and whether it's breast cancer or it could be coats, things like that. Each year they have a cause that they donate their proceeds to. But both events, to me, brought musical enjoyment to our community, which at this time of year is very welcome, I think. Also have the opportunity to, I want to publicly thank Mr. Doug Lane. Were you going to cover this, David? Okay, I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Doug Lane has served on our Civil Service Commission for several terms, and he has termed out, so I want to thank him for his willingness, and also serving as chair for the Civil Service Commission and all the officers and positions of trust that comes with that position. So on behalf of the administration, I want to thank him for his time, talent, and expertise he's given to the North Canton Civil Service Commission. Also leading the one of our boards is Mr. Peter Volas. I think he's done 3 terms, 3 5-year terms, as I recall, and serving on our North Canton Planning Commission, and it's come to a close for him. And he is very active as a senior director for real estate with the Cleveland Clinic, and we appreciated his knowledge of corporate and commercial real estate as he served us well. And his focus has to remain with his occupation, so I want to thank him again on behalf of the administration for his expertise that he's given to the North Canton Planning Commission. Also, I want to recognize Miss Doris Hershey of 711 Woodrow Street Northwest, North Canton, Ohio. It's been brought to my attention that she is celebrating her 101st birthday, and I want to congratulate her. And when you think about 101 years of life, I hope she has fond memories, of course, and warm ones. And so just wanted to have an opportunity to send her a letter congratulating her on her birthday. And as far as I know, she's received it and had a couple calls, and she's really tickled that she got a letter from the mayor on her 101st anniversary. So congratulations, Doris. And Mr. President, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Finance, Jim?
Yeah, so obviously, you know, the OpenGov public portal for everyone that likes to look at the transparency of the city. So that'll be up here on the website in the next day or two for 2024. So we're working on that a lot lately. So it's December, so we are 2024, and so we're finishing up the year, and we'll be closing out, and we'll have an annual report for you guys in January. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We will look forward to that.
Yes.
The final.
Clerk, Ben?
I have 3 quick items. First is that I've been asked by the Ohio Ethics Commission to remind you all to file your financial reports for the year. Second is to anybody here or watching out there, we are still asking for help to identify service line compositions as mandated by the federal and state EPA. There is a form on the homepage of our website that has 3 questions, takes about 5 minutes. It would be a big help if you could fill it out for your home or business that is on city water. If you don't fill it out, we will have to come knock on your front door and do it ourselves. And if you refuse to let us in, we'll have to dig up your front yard. So we'd really rather you help us out. And then lastly, as we move into the 21st century, as I say, our online permitting portal goes live January 1st. Our first public training, or preview rather, is a better word, public preview of what that portal will look like is this Friday at 10 a.m. here at the Civic Center.
Is everybody invited to that?
Anybody who wants to come in and see it.
That's good. Okay, moving on to council reports. Start with Jane.
Well, I was gonna share the information about the pipes tonight, but thank you very much, Ben, for bringing that up. So get your pipes tested.
Sure. David.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for recognizing those that had volunteered their services and their terms are up. I appreciate you taking care of that. And I have no other report for Ward 2.
Thank you. Stephanie.
Report.
Melissa.
I'll just say thank you for the few folks. I talked to Mr. Tedrick on the phone and a couple of folks that called to share their opinions on some of the things that were on our agenda. Always nice to hear from your neighbors. And this is just random, but thank you to our friends at the police department too. I had to call them the other day for help with a stray dog that came in my yard, and they were very friendly and helped me find the owner. So I appreciated that service.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to say thank you to Peter and Doug for serving. I want to thank you for speaking tonight and let us know what you think of the new format. That is all I have. Moving on, final call for any business. Seeing none, the meeting calendar, our next meeting and the final meeting of the year will be December 18th, and that's going to be the regular city council meeting. We're gonna have, we're probably talking about coming back on the January 8th.
Well, first, I was talking with Mr. McKean beforehand, and he and I had an executive session before the meeting on the 18th to discuss what the.
That'll be before the meeting, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, what time?
Well, it'll be one of the first things on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And whether or not the 18th is the final meeting of this year will largely depend on what happens next week. As far as attendance goes, if we're short, we may have to schedule another meeting.
Okay.
Then yes, on January 8th, if December 18th is our last meeting, then January is the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Does it need to be timely?
Yes. Okay, so we're looking at possibly adding the January 8th meeting here. Then we have public hearing on the 22nd at 6:45. We have the committee of the whole following that, and then the 29th will have a regular city council.
We need a motion for January
8th. I'll make a motion to add January 8th.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I will, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, reference number 5.
Okay. Does that mean you're gonna meet with him?